you have done kind of fractional executive work for different companies where you split your time, your work week, kind of into fractions in order to bring this incredible knowledge that you have to a bunch of different companies simultaneously. What brought you into doing that kind of fractional work, and who would you recommend it to, or who would you not recommend it to?
So the fractional work is, remember we talked about those small AI startups that want to really do good work, but they just don't have the budget because they're fundraising. Those are the small companies that I support in a fractional capacity, aligned with their budget. And so I do the CTO work in terms of helping them understand what their roadmap should look like, what markets they should enter. Federal government is a long lead time in terms of getting access and getting into and selling, but creating that future roadmap to be able to do that in the future and to be able to raise funds to show the value of their product is some of the things that I help these smaller AI startups do on a fractional basis, splitting out my time across different ones.
Yeah, and so how does that? There must be situations that you run into. I can imagine. This is off the top of my head, but it seems like in that kind of situation where you're splitting your time between different companies, company A and company B might both have something really urgent coming up today or this hour, and they need you immediately for like a meeting. Both companies need you at the same time, or they need more of your time than you could possibly have in the same week. How do you manage situations like that as a fractional executive?
I've never run
Okay, okay.
against that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
actually.
So
But
maybe you set
that
up
is a
good.
good questions. I got to create a robust framework to be able to mitigate that risk.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
maybe you set expectations well in advance. So maybe that's the lesson here: is how do you set up expectations to make sure that everyone, uh, all the firms that you're doing fractional work for, are aware that you're doing that fractionally, and that they understand that you're not always going to be available at the drop of a hat because you might have other stakeholders that you need to work with.
yeah, so I do share calendars across, and I've got,
Ah,
a robust set of color codings to be able to manage and know where I'm going to be. And I do podcasts like this, and I do talks at conferences, and in you know and so that's kind of what helps me in terms of managing. And it's not a bunch of companies, so we want to be clear. I work with maximum two at a time because I want to give them the best of me and the best of my knowledge so that I can bring them the best information at the right time when it drops. And so I do manage that, and I am cognizant of these AI companies. If they miss a contract deadline, it could be the end. And so I want to make sure that I give them all of me in the time allotted in the contract obligations.